Chapter 2. Getting Down to the Nitty-Gritty. One of my clients, whom I'll call Nikki, started working with me at the age of 42. She was a ruby-haired beauty from the Northeast who, while free-spirited and artsy, held a great job in the tech industry. She had recently bought her first home and felt ready to start the next chapter of her life. Nikki came to me seeking my Commitment Clarity program. Because I only work with women who are totally committed to getting what they want in their romantic lives, I questioned why she was coming to me at this particular time in her life. She reported that she had recently begun to research the medical and legal options to have a baby on her own. While working on the possibility of adoption, she was also investigating having her own child through a sperm donor. Nikki wanted to work with me regarding the men she was dating so that she would have the best possible chance of having a child naturally. She stated that she knew she needed to prioritize her desire for commitment in a way she had not done before, and this showed me that she was serious. She had recently read about how I had helped a woman in her mid-40s go from online dating to engaged in less than a year, and she wanted the same results. Upon hearing her high level of commitment and wanting to help her achieve her personal goal, I took Nikki on for coaching and we began to work together. She reported that she was meeting men both online and off who were typically educated, successful, and in their late 30s and early 40s. She was dismayed that nothing was gelling for her with the exception of one man she described as very sexy. Nikki impressed me as smart, achieved, and goal-oriented. She was also kind and had a lot of social and artistic interests. She had a serious boyfriend all through college in upstate New York and, upon graduating, went directly to graduate school in Boston. Her boyfriend decided to take a job in Northern California, however, so the couple had a long-distance relationship. Nikki planned on moving out west once she completed her master's degree, but the relationship ended in heartbreak when she discovered that her committed boyfriend had been seriously seeing the human resources director at his new job. In the 3 to 4 years following the breakup, Nikki had a series of short-term relationships and a variety of dating experiences. It wasn't until nearly 5 years later, at the age of 29, that Nikki got into her next long-term relationship with Ken. The two had a solid relationship and lived together for nearly 7 years. Early on, Nikki had doubts about Ken ever wanting to marry or have a family. When his mother was diagnosed with a serious illness, Nikki said that she didn't want to press the issue of marriage. Once it was known that Ken's mother would survive, and he showed no signs of wanting the relationship to move forward, Nikki ended it. After that, Nikki reported a lull in her dating life, followed by several flings mixed in with a few serious, short-lived relationships that almost always left her heartbroken. Nikki decided that she was no longer willing to wait for a committed relationship and would try to have a child on her own. While she wasn't going to give up on finding Mr. Right, she was looking at having a relationship as a means to an end that she desired, along with several other possibilities, as she put it. Besides, she declared, I want to be with a man regardless. As an avid skier and amateur photographer, Nikki had a full social life and was meeting a few men organically. To increase her dating options and possibilities, she had recently joined several online dating sites. Online dating presented a unique challenge for Nikki. She wanted to have an honest and as straightforward a profile as possible, yet she felt that if she put her real age of 42, along with a desire for marriage and children, she would be scaring off men who might otherwise want to meet her. Nikki's approach did not seem to be geared toward easy success. She was very reluctant to miss out on any opportunities and felt she couldn't take herself off the dating sites until she figured out exactly what was going to happen in terms of the pregnancy that she touted as her main goal. Nikki looked very young for her age, so claiming that she was 36 years old never raised any suspicion from the men that she attracted online. However, not being completely truthful weighed heavily on her, especially when a man showed more than just a passing interest. Nikki felt that in terms of online dating and her profile statement of wanting children, she had no choice but to put a younger age on her profile. She felt that prospective men who did not know her would deem her real age and desire to have children as a serious limiting factor. Unfortunately, this caused Nikki to be in constant worry about when to tell a man the truth. Most importantly, in terms of her success, this worry kept her from totally being herself in the dating process. Nikki rationalized that if a man fell in love with her first, she could then tell him the truth about her age. She felt she could also then tell him the truth about her plan to have a child, whether through adoption or with a man wishing to join her in the journey of parenting. Since she had begun taking steps towards her goal of having a child, her life had become full of doctor's appointments and meetings with her lawyer, her financial advisor, and her accountant. She was also remodeling her new home. Nikki soon told me more about the very sexy man she had seen a few more times named Todd. She admitted that she was really starting to like Todd and that they shared an instant chemistry. Todd was 39 years old and was briefly married for 3 years when he was in his mid-20s. He told Nikki that he was tired of dating and wanted to settle down and perhaps even have a family. This was music to Nikki's ears, and she became very excited by the appropriate prospect that Todd appeared to be. While happy for her, I gently reminded her of one of my coaching mantras: think marathon and not sprint, especially when first getting to know a man. Nikki took direction from our initial work on dating strategies and never reached out to Todd. I explained that any forward motion toward a man can cause him to lose interest and perhaps even retreat. Nikki realized the power of choosing to wait for Todd to text or call. She also applied another important strategy for heightening a man's interest. She didn't immediately reply to him when he contacted her, thus forcing him to wait and wonder. Despite wanting to send little text or answer immediately when he reached out, Nikki held back, and Todd responded by showing a lot of interest. Nikki also worked on keeping herself from asking Todd many questions during their initial dates, especially about his personal life or feelings. She allowed their dating to unfold at his pace and let him take the lead on asking questions and directing the discussion. This proved to be very challenging for Nikki on several levels. First, being a woman, Nikki connects through interactive discussion. Because men can perceive this kind of interaction as too much interest or pursuit, I coached Nikki to hold back on her natural inclination to ask questions and talk a lot. While talking makes women feel most connected, I explained how listening works best initially, as men tend to like to talk more at women in the first few dates to tout their achievements. While different than what she was used to, this type of holding back proved advantageous for Nikki in her situation, as she was not comfortable with sharing much about herself with Todd for obvious reasons. She was lying about her age and didn't want to slip up and divulge any info on what she was planning. Furthermore, she had to be careful about the timeline of her life, like the year of her college graduation, the years that she was in high school, and when she left home. Simply listening to Todd talk about his work, his hobbies, and his friends proved to be a bit of a relief for Nikki. When Todd asked Nikki about herself, she handled her discomfort by diverting the conversation back to his life. Despite all of her positive reports on their dates, I sensed that her caution caused Nikki to seem less fun and spontaneous as I knew her to be. The power of not yet. Nikki also understood that waiting to have sex with a man allows him to experience falling in love in the most profound way a man can, by catering to his need to achieve and allowing him to wonder if and when he will succeed. Nikki was quite attracted to Todd, so I made sure to remind her that men fall in love through a delay in gratification. I explained that when a simple "not yet" is implied in dating, in other words, it should not have to be said, it ignites a man's deepest need in life and in love, which is to wait to achieve what it is that he values and pursues. When a woman employs the concept of not yet, she takes a powerful stance. Men like to win, but more specifically, men like to win what they have spent their time and attention trying to achieve. When a woman holds off on having sex, even if a man knows that the woman also wants to have sex, she shows herself to be a woman of value, a trophy, prize, or pennant. In other words, a goal worthy of pursuit. As we continued working together, Nikki uncharacteristically canceled several of our scheduled sessions. By the next time we spoke, she had had 2 more dates with Todd. In just a few moments of catching up, I realized why Nikki had opted out of our previously set appointments. She was distressed over having had sex with Todd on the 4th date. She expressed disappointment in herself and concern that she had thwarted his ability to feel as deeply as he was potentially capable of feeling for her. She was now afraid that he was pulling away because, not counting the 1 text he had sent the morning after, Todd had not reached out to Nikki in nearly a week. The good, the bad, and the scared. My heart went out to Nikki. She admitted that she felt increasingly anxious with each passing day that she didn't hear from Todd. The high on which Nikki had been riding when Todd was pursuing her so heavily prior to their 4th date was now completely gone, and she was left with worry and doubt. Nikki confessed to me what made her feel worst of all was that she had had unprotected sex. We explored why Nikki would put herself at risk both emotionally and physically. Eventually, she was able to verbalize a number of feelings that were hard for her to come to terms with. That she was willing to risk causing herself harm because of her fear of not being able to get pregnant. While painful to admit, Nikki was making the connection that her fear was causing her to toss out her personal boundaries and safety concerns. Nikki cried when she told me that she wasn't really ready to sleep with Todd, and that despite our work together, her best friend had convinced her that she might lose Todd if she made him wait. Nikki confessed that the night before she met Todd for the 4th date, her friend told her that if she didn't sleep with him that night, he would get tired of waiting and likely not want to see her again. We discussed why her friend's thinking was counter to what Nikki was looking to achieve in the long run, what she was feeling, and what she actually wanted to do physically. We also touched on the fact that acting from fear is in direct opposition to what men crave and what keeps them pursuing women that they like. Their need to achieve and win that which is slightly out of reach. Through Nikki delving more deeply into her feelings and actions, she realized that giving into her fear was pushing her to disregard not only all that we achieved in our work up to that point, but also to abandon her own experience and inner knowing. That sleeping with a man is not a way to gain his real interest, and anything done with a man from a place of fear is destined to cause self-harm and probable heartache. Nikki also admitted that despite the chemistry between her and Todd, the sex was really awful. I helped her understand that because she was not comfortable with her decision, she was experiencing great dissonance between her mind, body, and heart. By giving into her fear and not adhering to her own desires, feelings, and values, she had forsaken herself and what she held in esteem. She was acting from a place of weakness, and the effect was the polar opposite of her intention and desire. Nikki also said she was feeling guilty about lying to Todd in the split second before they had sex when he asked her if she was on birth control. "I don't know what came over me," she lamented. "I told him I was." Nikki was distraught. She said she could not believe that she had done it again. When I asked her to explain, she recalled times in the past when she had used her sexuality in ways that she felt were working to her advantage. In reality, they simply brought her to a place of regret and emptiness, and she now saw clearly that her response to Todd was part of a pattern. I was happy to be able to calm Nikki's fears of never hearing from Todd again, as I knew with 100% certainty that he would be reaching out to her, just not in the time frame that she would have liked or felt would be most appropriate. I told her what I tell all of my female clients. Take the amount of time you feel would be appropriate or normal in any given dating situation and triple it. I explained to Nikki how we could work to reset her relationship with Todd and repair the bit of damage that had been done by sleeping with him before she was emotionally ready. I knew this would be hard for her, as it is the hardest of all strategies for most women because women connect sex to their feelings. In order to reset their relationship, Nikki was now faced with the difficult task of tempering her feelings and acting as if nothing had changed for her by having had sex. In Nikki's particular case, I knew that the issue wasn't just Todd or what I call the man of the moment, but rather her real need and desire to connect to her feelings in order to make progress personally. Connecting the dots. In the next few months, I worked with Nikki to help her identify what she truly wanted for her life. First, she had to name it and claim it. Second, she had to focus on that one need, forgoing other easy, fun, and immediate distractions. Lastly, she had to commit to herself in a way that she hadn't in the past. Having a coach who was supportive and yet held her to her own choices, goals, and self-commitments helped her to identify, claim, and seek what she really wanted and needed, not what she thought she should want at her age or what she felt she should be doing. What Nikki discovered was surprising to her, especially in the midst of what she had been attempting to undertake during the previous year. Nikki realized that in all the years since her first heartbreak with her college boyfriend, her deepest need and desire was being masked by what she deemed her promiscuity and flippant attitude, and now by her focus on having a baby. Nikki uncovered that she wanted a committed, loving, and connected relationship with a man much more than she wanted to have a child. Moving forward. After Nikki finally admitted to herself that she would be desperately unhappy should she not find a life partner, and only moderately disappointed if she didn't have a child, she freed herself to make finding a mate a priority and released herself from the pursuit, time, and pressure of getting pregnant, either artificially or naturally. Other clients have been in similar situations to Nikki's and felt completely the opposite in terms of their desires. One former client in her early 40s wanted a child more than anything else in her life. Through our time of working together, she discovered she didn't much care about finding the right relationship, but thought that having a man in her life would be the means to the end of being able to have a baby. Once she released herself from focusing on that which she didn't care about as much, a relationship, and started focusing on that which she deeply desired, having a child, she freed herself and started living a more satisfying, authentic, and goal-oriented life. When Nikki identified that she truly desired a committed, monogamous relationship with a man she loved, she began accepting things as they were. She accepted her age and was okay whether or not she had a child. She discovered that with her main desire in complete focus, she could let go and allow fate to direct her path. The future in now. Nikki and I continued to work together on the approaches and strategies necessary to ignite a man's interest by allowing him to love through wondering and by attempting to achieve her time, attention, and affection. Nikki's focus of wanting a committed relationship keeps her steady on her path, so now she acts through strength and not fear. She removed her old online profile and joined a site with her real age. Todd did follow up with Nikki subsequent to their fourth date, and Nikki worked with the strategies and approaches necessary to keep his interest in achieving her. Here are a few of the most important points and action steps that I have given to Nikki and are giving to you for the best chance of success with men. Number 1, don't reach out. No matter how short, sweet, or innocuous a call or text initiated by a woman may seem, they can lower a man's interest. While perhaps it's difficult for you to fully grasp, keep in mind that as much as you wish to be connected, a man's wish is to be independent and free to pursue that which he finds interesting. Take away that pursuit, even a little, and you can lessen a man's interest a lot. 2, don't answer quickly or predictably. Making a man wait for your answer is one of the best ways to pique his interest. Not answering a call or texting back right away makes him think about you and question your interest in him. This action spurs his achievement need, which is the deepest need for a man. 3, make your own life your priority. The value of showing a man that your life takes precedence over him cannot be overstated. While this doesn't mean that you never have any time for him, keeping a man off balance in terms of where he stands in your list of priorities is important for him to be able to feel love for you. Nikki wanted to confess to Todd that she had made a mistake by sleeping with him on the night of their 4th date. But I explained why that would not be a good idea. While there is much more to the reasoning behind this, the 3 basic guidelines are: 1, don't go back. Stay in the moment with men. For men, the adage, "that was then, this is now," should always be in the forefront of your mind and interactions. Be true to yourself in the moment and do not bring up incidents from the past unless specifically asked about them. 2, act, don't speak. Women relate through verbalization. Men relate through action. Don't tell a man that you are going to do something or why you are doing it. Just do what you know to be best for yourself in the moment. If questioned, state that whatever you are doing is from your truth and your feelings about what is right for you right now. 3, accept, don't acquiesce. While you can appreciate a man's needs and wants, it doesn't mean you have to give in to them. I often say these 3 little words to my clients to explain why they lose otherwise interested men. You're too nice. Stay strong in your own knowledge about what is right for you. Doing anything you don't want to do in order to be nice almost always backfires with men. Men aren't looking for women to be nice to them. Men are looking for women to be themselves and to inspire them to want to continually achieve their time, attention, and affection. By following these tips, Todd remained interested in Nikki and was by all accounts intrigued by her. She went out with him again and stayed strong in what she did and did not want to do, sexually and otherwise. By her attending to her own feelings and knowing that attempts to please Todd did nothing to inspire his desire, she kept his interest. The 2 went on 4 more dates before Nikki had sex with Todd again, and this time she insisted on him using protection. Without the pressure of the time constraint to get pregnant, Nikki began to feud Todd just for Todd, and her interest quickly fizzled. She felt that while he was nice and sexy, the 2 had nothing in common and that their intellectual and recreational interests were very far apart. Nikki is now dating someone new who appears to be a better fit for her lifestyle, and the 2 have a great deal in common. This man is a year older, has 1 child from a previous marriage, and said he is open to having another child if it should happen. Nikki reports that she now feels at ease and how it is ironic that she has found a man with a child who might also become part of her life should the relationship become serious. She is now happier living in her greatest truth of desiring a committed relationship and focusing on making that happen.